Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird, true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 487, written by Feisty89. Secrets of Sheryl, the Trickster therapist. Back in 2013, I was referred to a therapist by my doctor. Her name was Sheryl, and her office was on the 3rd floor of a building downtown. It was a pain to see her and pay for parking, but I was desperate to talk to someone. We meet and I tell her the detailed story of what has been happening to me the past year. She appeared to be listening and sympathetic. She gives me some really basic advice. Read a book, any book. Go for a walk, and book our next appointment for the next week. Next week comes. I go to her door on the 3rd floor. Sheryl greets me and asks what she can do to help. I try to pick up from where we left off. Sheryl says, "Excuse me, but I don't remember you at all. Can you go back to the beginning?" So I will explain in detail what happened again, and I'd like to think my experience to share was pretty crazy at the time. Surely she would remember, without sounding like I'm a narcissist. Anyway, we have another meeting and she gives advice anyone could say off the top of their head. We booked a 3rd appointment for the next week. I show up for my 3rd appointment and Cheryl's office isn't there. Door locked, lights out. Her name is not on the door anymore. I take a spooky elevator down to the 1st floor as it's an old building and find the receptionist. The receptionist tells me that she can't help me contact Sheryl, but says that her office is in the basement and gives me Cheryl's business card. I go down to the basement, which has 0 other people around. Her door is there, but it's locked and dark and she's not there. I get upset and leave. Clearly, Sheryl is incompetent anyway. She must be the worst therapist in the world. I decided to give her a call and leave a message asking why she wasn't at our appointment. Sheryl calls me back and leaves me a voicemail. She tells me that she has no appointments booked for today. She also tells me she is sorry, but she has no idea who I am and has no record of me even talking to her. She also says if I'd like to book a meeting to meet her, to call back. I never called back. I was upset for a long time, though perhaps she was an NPC, or maybe just a bad therapist. The voicemail freaked me out pretty bad. This past spring, I asked to be referred to a therapist again, and guess who called and kept a voicemail? Someone named Sheryl, so I didn't call back. Case file number 488, written by bloatedeyelash. Secrets of a presence that consumed our car keys. I am someone who never ever leaves their keys behind. I always carry my car keys in the same hand as my wallet, and when I enter any of my friends' houses, I put my keys right next to my wallet, and I never leave my car unlocked. This is important. My friend drove her and her sister home from school on a Friday. She always puts her keys in the top drawer of her dresser. I came over the following morning. Upon arriving, I placed my keys directly next to my wallet on the floor of her room. We hung out for a bit and decided we were going to go to our friend's house and hang out with them. We both showered and began to do our makeup. As we were finishing up our makeup, both of us at the exact same time began to have this super unsettling feeling. We both began to have trouble breathing and felt like someone or something was watching us. We just felt a super negative presence. We didn't say anything to each other at first until it became unbearable. We both were feeling the exact same effects without saying a word to another, until that moment. We kinda started to get freaked out, so we were like, alright, let's get the hell out of here. I always drive, so I found my wallet, and my keys weren't next to my wallet. I vividly remember setting them down right next to my wallet on the floor. At the same time as I said to her I couldn't find them, the feelings we had got increasingly worse. She was like, "Okay, it's fine, I'll just drive." She went to grab her keys out of the top drawer, and they weren't there either. We both freaked. We had to step out of the room at this point because of the feelings we were having. We had her sister come in with us, and we tore the entire room apart. We took the mattress off the frame. We literally searched the room top to bottom. The feelings we had went away, and I decided to go check in my car. I thought there was absolutely no way my keys were in my car. I walk up to my car and my keys are in my seat with my car door unlocked. My heart fell straight to my butt. I went in and told her, and I was like, dude, go check your car now. She went outside, and we both just had this insane feeling, and she went up to her car. There were her keys in her unlocked car. At the exact same time, we both just started sprinting for my car and we left. We told our friends what happened when we got there, still very shaken up. And they of course just brushed it off as us being dumb and just forgetting our keys in the car. But we both just couldn't get over the feeling. Still to this day, thinking about it makes my stomach hurt. I don't know why, but it was genuinely one of the strangest things that has ever happened to me. Case file number 489, written by ImperaOne. Secrets of Stickers, Crossing Dimensions. I was sitting on the couch in my living room last night, peeling the price stickers off the faces of a few thrift store golf clubs. I peeled one off in a couple pieces, stuck the pieces to a coaster on my coffee table, and went to work on the next. That next one came off in one piece, about 1.5 inches times 0.75, and I stuck it to the pieces that had already stuck to the coaster. But in doing so, I moved this newly forming clump of price stickers about an inch away from the coaster onto the surface of the coffee table. I grabbed another club, pulled the price sticker off my face, and went to add it to my others, but they were gone. No more than 10 seconds had passed, maybe less, and the stickers were gone. Not on the floor, under the couch, or the coffee table. They didn't stick to my hand or anything like that. I left them on the coffee table, just ever so slightly stuck to its surface, so they didn't blow away or anything like that. I literally looked down for a few seconds, looked back, and they were gone. It's a weird feeling. I'm suddenly left examining the past 10 seconds, taking a mental recounting of what I'd just done. Did I get up? No. Did I hallucinate the act of placing those stickers on the table? Perhaps, but I was stone sober, hadn't consumed anything that might alter my perception of what I was doing. Case notes, file number 489. The only glitches I've experienced, as most longtime viewers know, is when a tennis ball vanished mid-throw, and then one more time more recently after it hit the ground. Are these objects crossing dimensions, still existing here, so to say, but out of phase with us in our limited 4 dimensions? Whatever is going on there, I sympathize with how you felt after. It's that constant, mind-screwy feeling. It's such a small thing in the grand scheme of things, and you know that. And yet it occupies your mind for hours after it happens, because it's impossible. Those stickers were there, 10 seconds passed and they're gone. No pets, no draft, nothing logical. They just don't exist for you anymore. Likewise for my tennis balls. They were there one moment and gone the next. It's so frustrating. If I wasn't bald, I'd have pulled my hair out. Case file number 490, written by ImperaOne. Secrets of my mother, giving me the Afterlife specialty. I live in a country where every doctor that wants to go into a medical specialty must take a national exam and compete with every other doctor in the country that wants to study a medical specialty. Something like the USMLE in the United States. It is a big deal, and everyone that goes into med school here knows that your future kind of depends on an exam score that takes place once a year. My mom had died 3 years before I took that exam, while I was still in med school. She was always a very caring person and was really proud of me. I am the youngest of 3 brothers, and she always saw me as her little boy, even when I was 20-something. During med school, I always wanted to become a nephrologist, but after my mother passed away, I went through a really bad episode of depression that made me pause my studies for 6 months, and eventually made me change my specialty choice to psychiatry. After I realized the hell of mental illness and I wanted to help people not go through that alone. All those years, I constantly felt the presence of my mother, like she was around in a good way, always taking care of me. It is hard to explain, but I just felt like she was still around somehow. A few months before that big exam, I really put myself on studying for a year or so, which is the usual time students prepare specifically for that exam. I had a dream in which I was taking that exam. The lady that gave the scores in a dream handed me my results and said, "You got a 76 out of 100, but your mom graded your exam, so it is an 86 out of 100 now." I woke up with a happy feeling since I thought it was funny and I enjoyed dreaming about my mom. I told my family about it, but we really didn't think much of it. The day I took my test, I was feeling nervous, but with enough confidence because I really had put myself into studying. Also, I somehow felt that things were going to be okay. After I finished my exam, the lady that handed out the score printed out my result sheet, looked at it, then at me and said, "Congratulations, doctor. Usually you need a score of 70 or more to get into a specialty, but the better your score, you can choose a better hospital to study at." So I took my results and to my surprise, it said, total score, 86. I was baffled. First of all, because it was a really high score, and later that day because when I was celebrating with my family, we remembered that it was the exact score of my dream. It is even more surprising because of the decimals. There are more than 450 questions on the exam, so you can get odd scores like 74.36 or 82.72 or something like that. But this one was 86.00, to the point, like the dream months before where my mom graded my exam. After that day, which was 4 years ago, I don't feel the presence of my mom as strongly as before. I know she is there somewhere watching me and my family, but I think she chose to stay a few years before leaving just to make sure I was going to do fine in life, since that was one of her greatest worries as a mother in relation to me and my brothers. Case file number 491, written by Macaroni Addict. Secrets of NPCs refusing to load. I had always thought of the Matrix as a fun thought experiment, nothing more. I am a spiritual person and I believe in a higher power and extraterrestrial presence on this planet, but I always thought the Matrix was just a little too far-fetched. Until last week. I was driving through my local park, looking around for my friends who were playing football somewhere. I couldn't see anyone. The park was practically empty. I didn't think anything of it, but I noticed it. The road ahead was closed, so I turned the car around and all of a sudden there were cyclists, people walking their dogs, a kid skating a curb I passed earlier, which I would have had to actively avoid as that part is kind of narrow. Seriously, from completely dead to the busiest I'd ever seen in a few weeks, within 5 seconds I'd say. I'm positive there wasn't enough time for those people to have just walked into view while I was facing away. We're talking dozens if not hundreds of people. I told my buddies later what happened and they all looked at each other and said, "Glitch in the Matrix." I still can't believe that I witnessed that.